RG, class to have you. I've been peppering you on Instagram for you to come on, but we're best mates now after the World Cup and getting you on the Big Jim Show live. We're best mates now, right?
Yeah, basically. I think I just need to pick up my banter a little bit. After a couple of those interviews pitch side, I was like, oh, fuck, what did I say?
No, I actually, and I did do an apology on the pod because I've got you down as RG Snyman, right?
Yeah.
One of the coolest names on the planet, but apparently it's not RG, it's Aki. Can you just do the pronunciation, please?
Oh, yeah, it's pronounced RG in Afrikaans. But everyone actually just calls me RG, so it's fine.
Andrew, can you do the pronunciation, Andrew and Biggs, please, both of you?
RG. That'll do.
RG.
I'm calling him RG. Jim, you say you're his best mate, or you say you're best mates now. You didn't even wish him happy birthday. It's his 29th birthday today, and he is gracing us with his presence on the podcast. Happy birthday, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, thanks, guys. No, I appreciate it. I'm getting a bit older. It's quite tough to feel, you especially over the last couple of years. It's like, well, the amount of rugby I've played over the last, 4 years or so, and I feel like I keep getting older, but it's okay. It's part of it, I guess.
Yeah, mate, you wait until you get to your 40s and... Well, I'm 41. I'm definitely over halfway. But on that, you mentioned the kind of injuries in the last kind of few years you've had. You've seen the ups and downs, right? You've seen the glory and you've had some big injuries as well along the way. How are you mentally with that, RG? Like, how are you dealing with that? Because it's such a high at the World Cup. You come back and you're injured off the back of two big injuries before.
Yeah, it is quite a difficult thing to deal with, especially, like you say, you're part of something that's the highlight of your career, and then you come back and you can't play for your club and you're injured. And I have to say injured again, which is even worse. But yeah, I think mentally the guys here have really looked after me well and, kept me sane a bit and kept me part of the group really well. So it's actually, mentally it's going very well.
Obviously, I've sort of been injured the last month or so, and I know what it's like being on like periphery of the squad a little bit. In terms of, has that been the same for you since you've come back from the World Cup, or the guys sort of integrated you in as much as they can? And because it's always a bit of an awkward one, isn't it, when you come back from a campaign injured as well? The boys have been great with you.
Yeah, I must say they've really done the most to try and, well, I guess at this stage where we are with Leinster, most guys are injured anyway. So it's not a good thing.
You're not on your own.
Yeah, exactly. So at least like you have a good group, but the guys have been very good with it. But yeah, I guess that's also something I've learned over the past couple of years is to not fade away and not, exclude yourself from the team. Try and stay in there as much as you can.
Because it's easy when you're injured because you're not in that group, are you? And you may be missing out on the team meetings, what's going on after training, after team sessions, and I can imagine it's pretty difficult for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you are isolated a bit, aren't you? And it's there's you get the injured players, and then you get they're already a bit isolated from the squad, and then you get the guys who do the ACL twice. They're even more separated.
Oh, God. Yeah, some massive injuries. I want to talk about, obviously, you said how great everyone's been at Munster reintegrating you. How were they when you broke the news that you were signing for their rivals Leinster? That's the big question.
Not great, I imagine. I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, that was a bit of a tough one, especially, breaking it to the guys, and telling them. It was a tough thing for me to do, but in the end, no one was really upset with me about it. No one in the building, I have to, add that. But, the guys were actually very understanding of it. And I guess it's very professional, from their side as well to understand it, because it could have gone the other way. And then, I think
who's telling you?
It's been fucking difficult for me.
Well, RG, let's be honest. Who's telling you to your face if they're pissed off? Like, who's going to come up and say, I'm not happy? But just give us a bit more insight into that. Like, how does that happen? I think I know the answer, but maybe you can share that, because there was talk of you going to Bath. There was talk of going to Japan. Obviously, a lot of the South African players go over there. But with Munster and Leinster, we know that they fall under the umbrella of the IRFU. Was that a big discussion, or are they is it completely separate? And maybe Jacques Nino about having that influence at Leinster now that brought you across?
Yeah, I think the fact that Jacques is there played a big role for me. going to Leinster, and we really enjoy our time in Ireland, myself and my wife, and she's got a job here, and we've really come to like it here, and so it was a difficult decision to make, but it was an easy one for the two of us to just be able to stay in Ireland and just head up the road to Dublin and go and play with Leinster, and obviously Leinster, their reputation speaks for itself, and then you throw the fact that Jock is there on top of that, it only makes sense. But it was a bit of a tough one telling the boys.
Was it a case of, you don't have to answer this, you can tell me to do one and I'll absolutely shit myself and not ask any more questions, but was it a case of they could only keep one of you or John Klein because of various different rules within the RFU and how they handle things, or is that just something that's been spiced up in the press?
Oh, I'm actually not sure. Because I wasn't really given any of that information. Obviously I had a conversation with the guys at Munster, and they just told me, well, listen, contract time's up, and we're not really signing you on, so you can start looking for other options, and luckily a good one came across.
RG, I was gonna say, obviously with Jack there, everyone I've spoken to, whether it's Cobus Reinach, Sia Khaleesi, Andre Pollard, everyone seems to just absolutely love Jack. What makes him so special as a coach? Not just as a coach, but obviously as a person as well, which is probably more important as a man.
Yeah, because I think in certain cases you get great coaches. They understand the game really well, and they push that side of things, but they miss maybe a bit of the human element to things. And on the other side, you sometimes get coaches that they just want to be a friend, but they lack a bit of the rugby knowledge. And I think that's where Jock is such a special guy, and he actually looks at the individual as well as trying to better the guy as a rugby player. And I think that's why guys have so much respect for him, because you don't feel like you're just another number to him. He actually looks at you, and he makes you believe in what he does and what he stands for, and then that just brings the best out of everyone.
Have you given Jack and the Leinster boys a bit of a heads up in terms of any of them wearing expensive T-shirts on socials or anything like that? I've heard you've got I've been speaking to a few of the Munster boys. I'm not going to say who. I'm not dropping anyone in it.
I want names.
But his initials are CM, so it's up to you if you want to work that out. He says you've got a habit for ripping boys expensive T-shirts, so just make sure you give the Leinster boys a heads up before the socials.
I was planning on not giving them a heads up, but I guess you're looking after the guys, you're giving them a heads up.
Yeah, anyways, sorry,
they all listen now anyway, but that's absolutely fine. But all I'm saying, one thing, again, if you rip my shirt open, you'd just be left to it. But Andrew, if you rip yours open, you might be throwing the headbutt with that belly hanging out there.
Just don't wear a Louis Vuitton top around RG Snyman, because he'll rip it off your back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
the guys here found that out the hard way.
Give us a bit of context then. Who did you go after? Whose shirt did you rip?
I can't remember who it was. I think the list is a bit long for me to name all of them.
Whose do you not touch? That's probably the question. Like, does Peter O'Mahony, can you rip his off? Or is there no man you can't touch?
I can't remember if I've... but I think if I try and rip Pete's shirt, that's going to be my toughest one yet.
That's your challenge. That's your challenge before you leave.
I'll give it a go and I'll report back. Yeah, but Biggs, I do give the guys a bit of a heads up, because I always tear my own shirt first.
Okay,
so if you see me tearing my shirt,
I was going to say, put it that way. If I saw you tearing your own shirt, I'd be in the first taxi home. Put it that way.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh shit, it's happening. It's happening. It's coming towards us.
Because I know a lot of the boys, the South African boys, have spent a lot of time in Japan. I know that you spent some time out there earlier on in your career. What makes it so appealing to so many of you, and people, you seem to find a way of still winning World Cups and still winning matches, even though so many of you are playing so far away and experiencing different cultures.
Yeah, I think that is actually a bit of a strength in itself, is guys playing all over the world, you know, because you don't get stuck in I don't want to say stuck, but you don't get, you know, you don't all have one mindset. You can all
bring different ideas together.
Exactly. And so guys play all over the world and they come back into the squad and then bring ideas from everywhere. And someone might have picked up something here or there, and it only adds to the, you know, to the bigger group. And yeah, I actually think it works out quite well.
Biggs, you asked him then what appeals to playing in Japan. I'd say about 12 games a year and a fucking boatload of yen. That would be my answer.
I mean, apart from the obvious, that was what I meant, Goodey.
Yeah, and I think obviously for a lot of guys, it makes sense as well because, like you said, they're half the year they actually get to spend time in South Africa as well. You know, but for the coaching team. It is quite difficult because they have to set up meetings and, you know, we have these online camps almost. So we, you know, they sort of get everyone on the same page using those online camps. And yeah, I think it's a tough job for them, but it works.
It does work. You could say it works.
I was going to say, I'd say there'd be more players going out to Japan after the last 2 World Cups. Yeah, I'd say you've done all right.
Was there a consideration for you, RG? Like, where did you look at? So Leinster got your signature. And again, I know the reason why, just from the outside, chatting to Leo as well. When it comes to their big games, you look at Will Skelton, for example, the dominance that he's had. You look at your dominance at the World Cup in the semi-final, in the quarter, well, every game that you came on as well, and just being that big man. So, did you look at anywhere else? Was anyone close to getting your signature? Let's just dangle the carrot. How close were you to going to Bath or Japan?
Yeah, I was. You see, where we are at this stage, myself and my wife, you know, it's for the partners. It can be a bit of a challenge in Japan. So at the moment, we sort of said, okay, no, listen, we want to either look at somewhere in Europe or maybe consider some offers from back home, you know. But yeah, so we were actually quite close to, or I was in talks with Coach Johan at Bath as well, because we have a bit of a history, and I back him as a coach. I think he's really good, you know. So I also wanted to go and join him again and be coached by him. But yeah, I don't think a lot of guys have the opportunity to play for a team like Leinster, you know. And the biggest thing was as well is just the fact that we could stay in Ireland. It makes our life a lot easier, and my wife can just, you know, move up the road and keep her job, and it just made the most sense.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Right, let's rewind the clock. We love Ireland. We do. Let's rewind the clock into the World Cup. 3 months ago, you're lifting the trophy on top of the world. How does it compare, winning the World Cup in 2023 to the 2019 victory as well? Because very few teams have gone back to back. You've done that. How did it compare across both World Cups?
Yeah, it was actually interesting for me because obviously I didn't spend a lot of time in between the 2 World Cups with the team, with, you know, being injured. So it was nice for me to then get back with the team and see how much the guys have actually matured and grown as players. And yeah, I think in 2019, people were hopeful of us winning. But in the previous World Cup 2023, they almost expected us to win. I'm talking about obviously the Springbok fan base now, Biggs.
Yeah, well, you were my guy's second team anyway, so I was happy if we didn't win. So.
That's all right, don't worry about it. I had Scotland beat you in game 1 anyway, so that shows how much I know.
Yeah, so no, I think that those were the biggest things, but it was also special to see just how much people did appreciate it, because back in 2019, you didn't really know what to expect when you went home. And people were going absolutely crazy. And then this time around, thought, okay, you sort of know what to expect now. And then you get home and you were just blown away by how much bigger it actually was and how much it meant to the people back home. So yeah, it was something really special.
Yeah, I've been doing the rounds on this, RG, in terms of a big South African influence on my life over the last few weeks. I was with Sia Khaleesi in Paris and Hondre last week, so I feel like I'm repeating the question. But to our listeners and with you who I haven't spoke to about it, is the influence of Rassie Erasmus. You mentioned Jacques Ninaba, but seeing the emotion on Rassie's face, I know it's a question that's been asked a lot, but just from your perspective, just a little bit of insight into Rassie. I know he's in hospital at the minute. Have you heard any news about that? Is there a WhatsApp chat? Is he all right?
No, I think he's okay, but there's not, there's not a lot of chat going on around it. So, I actually hope he's okay.
Yeah, but the influence that he's had on you and the team.
Yeah, Rassie, I remember the first thing I went, when I went into Springbok camp for the first time, Rassie said, it's only about what happens on Saturday. Let the main thing stay the main thing. And I think where we were at now, Rassie was actually influencing us into being better teammates, better players off the field. Do you know what I mean? There was something almost deeper that he has come to realize about the game and the influence it has. And he was coaching in such a way as well that, I remember a chat there during the World Cup where he was saying, guys, how you guys are here with the team, not being selfish. Some of the guys aren't selected. You still give it your all. You still prep and train and, make sure the guys that are playing are as prepared as they can be. Go back to your clubs and be that same player, and I thought that was something that was really cool for him because he doesn't have to care about that. And that was something that was really, that sort of stuck with me.
Yeah, I was just going to say again, everyone who I've spoken to, Rassie's probably a Marmite type character, isn't he? Probably everyone who's South Africa loves him. Everyone who doesn't has got a different opinion. But everyone who I've spoken to absolutely loves him. And I suppose from my point of view, did he coach, or was there any difference in style of play or style of coaching that the guys did from 2019 to 2023? Because from my perspective, I thought that you guys were a more complete, better team in 2023 than 2019. Not saying any more less effective, but I felt like you were a better team. So just wondering, in the two World Cups, was there a different focus on anything or how Rassie approached things at all?
Yeah, I think, sorry, Big, did you say you think we were a better team in 2019?
I thought you were a better team in 2023.
23, okay,
complete team, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that was always the plan, and even like if you speak to Rassie as well, his plan was always to get to the 2023 World Cup and to win that one. So I think the way he planned it out and putting certain things in place at certain times worked out really well, and it was planned out well in advance, I think. But yeah, I think just regarding that, we definitely evolved as a team as well. If you look at the style of play back in 2019, it was a lot more kicking, and so the way we've evolved the game to try and challenge teams in different ways, I think was sort of our secret weapon as well, because guys expect, or they've come to expect, sort of the same thing from us and the same style of play, and then you obviously prepare, and you prepare for a certain thing, and then come game time there might be just something else, or and I thought they played that really well. Also, just introducing it over the time, and not just all at once. I'm really fascinated by this. That you guys did, I can't remember, was it the quarterfinal where the ball, or the semi-final where the ball was received in the 22, and the guys, I think Damien Williamson called a mark and chose for a scrum there. Was that something that was sort of planned early in the week, that had been talked about for a while, or was that something that just came up out of nowhere, really? No, it was definitely planned, because I think if it wasn't planned, a couple of the fours would have asked some questions, Playing a kicking game, and then you look back, you're like, fuck, why did you do that? Now we have to run over there. Obviously in the prep going into the France game, we just thought, looking at the previous game we played against France, there was no scrums in it. Like, there was no opportunity for us to, get a dominant scrum on them. So we decided, okay, well, how are we going to do this? The way they play, they kick the ball, obviously, try and kick it into your 22. So if they do that, call a mark and let's scrum. Let's force them to scrum.
Was there any objections from any of the forwards when that was discussed, or were you guys?
No, actually, no, not at all. I think, at that stage we had gotten to a point where we were very confident in our scrum as well. So when they said that, the guys actually got very excited. You could see Oxy just sitting there with this big smile and being like, I like this.
And that's it. When you unpick it, it's just like you've got a phenomenal team, a phenomenal pack that's suited. Like we speak about it all the time. Like the South Africans are built different. It's kind of the tagline that I use. Is there anyone, RG, that you fear as a team? Like you've got history against England. You've actually got decent history against Wales. They always run you close, and I say that with being completely respectful. In the semi-final, go back 2019. But RG, who's the team that you play against where you're like, fucking come on, it's on, like the physical contest that they give you?
Yeah, I think if you talk about physicality, obviously the All Blacks, you always have to put All Blacks up there, but there's certain teams that you play against and they don't go away. Do you know what I mean? And we pride ourselves on being physical. And certain teams that they won't, you can take them anywhere in the game physically and they just won't back down.
And who are
They're
they?
not going to run away from it.
Who are they?
And I must say, I don't want to say it too loud now because Big's easier.
Just whisper.
The Welsh guys are, they're tough fuckers.
Oh, God.
They stick in there.
We got them at the weekend.
That's the old Welsh team, not the new one. The old Welsh team, not the new one. Well, talking about the Six Nations, RG, I know you're obviously playing over in Ireland, moving up to Leinster. You play against various South African teams in the URC. Can you see a move, and would you want a move where South Africa end up playing in the Six Nations?
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting challenge for us to face, playing the Northern Hemisphere teams a bit more often and in the Six Nations. It obviously, it would give us opportunity to win different competitions then as well. But I guess then how will it work with the Rugby Championship? Because you don't really want to take away us playing against the All Blacks. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think anybody really wants that because it's such an iconic game. And, I think if you ask any of the All Black guys or any of the Springbok guys, they'll both say, we don't want to really lose that. So I think, I don't know if there's a way around it, but yeah.
I don't think there's a way. I'll flip-flop back and forth on it. But is that what the guys are saying? Do they love the championship? Have they said anything on the amount of travel from South Africa in the URC, RG? I mean, is that difficult for the lads that you're talking to?
Yeah. Well, listen, the guys are it is a lot of travel, so guys are mentioning it, but it's not really ever in a negative way. But I guess that's because what I've noticed is guys up here in the north actually find it a bit more strange because they weren't used to doing it. Whereas in the Super Rugby, we were used to traveling, and we traveled to New Zealand and Australia and Japan and Argentina in the Super Rugby. So it's actually, I think the guys, it might be a bit of a shorter travel. And I know it's more often and stuff, but yeah. So it is a challenge, but the guys, I think, are making it work.
So RG, just lastly from me, like how does the future look for you? So you're off to Leinster, going to be playing for the Springboks again. Like, do you think forward into these cycles, it's about getting fit right for you? That's the next thing and the next ambition.
So the biggest thing for me now is, I really want to finish the season strong here with Munster. And it is a bit of a sensitive thing for me because I want to give back to Munster, what they gave me over the last couple of years. And so I really just want to get back in this field as soon as possible and give it my all for the last part of the season. And then we'll look ahead then.
Now, RG, just before you go, out of the Springbok team, whose shirt are you not ripping off? Who's got the psychopath in them? Apart from Rassie, who looks like he's a psycho sometimes as well. But who are you not going? Like you're literally walking towards, then pivoting.
I actually don't know. I don't think anyone's off limits. But if I'm being honest, I don't think myself and Eben has had the T-shirt competition before. It's usually the two of us, and we start tearing everyone else's shirts, and then it's absolute fucking carnage.
There you go.
I think.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Can you imagine being anyone in the South Africa squad going, "There's Eben, there's RG, we're fucked. Our shirts are going." It's no wonder they're all ripped to smithereens because they know the shirts are coming off.
Class to have you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Pod.
Rugby Pod.